So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the newcomers and welcome back to everyone who has been with us today and also for the last previous 2 days. This is the third and final day and the final film of this year's edition of Amsterdam Polish Film Festival, organized by Polish Culture in collaboration with us, De Bali. My name is Stefan Malesiewicz. I'm the cinema editor of De Bali, head of cinema in De Bali, and it is already a second year for us to collaborate with Stichting Polish Culture on making this festival. A great pleasure and great honor to have the retrospective of Agnieszka Holland and to have her for a live interview yesterday. I hope you were there. Yeah, it's been long days, long films, so I won't talk that much. I just want to thank you once again for coming, and I hope that you have enjoyed these previous 3 days and that we will see you next year as well for the next edition of Amsterdam Polish Film Festival. Tonight we still have one more film left to go and the last conversation. So I would like to invite Bożena Kopczynska from Polish Culture to do the final introduction.
Just a few words. Thank you very much for being here. Well, I'm totally surprised that there's so many new faces, but it means we are getting more popular. As Agnieszka Holland has said, every film is the beginning of a start of a discussion. That's why we have conversations every day. And today it's Bibi Dumon Tak and Dore van Dijvenbode will be a moderator. Dore has a strong connection with Poland, as you can see in a brochure. She has maybe you can say a few words, but she has been very often in Poland and she speaks Polish and has a heart half Polish. And Bibi also has written one book with the Polish theme and a lot of compassion for the world of animals. So please welcome Dore van Dijvenbode and Bibi Dumon Tak. And there won't be any break between the conversation and the film. Welcome and enjoy.
Thank you, Bożena. I thought you were about to say Dore has a Polish connection, as you can see in her bone structure. But no, it is because of the father. So I was feeling very fond of myself. Welcome, everybody. Very nice to see you here. My name is indeed Dore van Dijvenbode. I'm a journalist. And we are sandwiched, actually. Our program is a sandwich between In Darkness, which was this afternoon, and Spoor, which will be right here after at 8 o'clock. So it's a challenge. It's a balancing act for us, not to spoil too much of Spoor, which you still have to see, but also the films and the themes in the films are guidelines for our conversation. So if anybody thinks, oh no, you're going too far with the plot, then just wave your hand and we'll zip it, because we both already saw the film. And it's my very honor to be here with somebody who I think in a few years we now have this film festival dedicated to the work of Agnieszka Holland, and in a few years we have a book festival in Amsterdam, any other city in the Netherlands, dedicated to the books of this woman over here, because she has written more than 30 books, which is, I cannot wrap my head around it. It's I think around 2 books a year. I did the math, and it's non-fiction, children's books, also fiction you are starting. So it's a major accomplishment, and I'm very honored and thrilled that she is here. Please give a warm applause for Bibi Dumon Tak. And Bibi, you have... Yeah, you already wanted to say something, huh? Yeah, do it.
Do you see my Czech bone structure? 25%, maybe it's not enough.
I see it. No, suddenly, yeah. And you saw these films, of course, but you also saw other films of Agnieszka, right, in the past days? Or
yes, I did.
Yes. And which one was it?
Fever. And oh boy, Friday. A Lonely Woman.
Yeah, good audience. And what is your feeling after seeing those 4 films of her? What is your feeling of her as a maker, as an artist? What do you think?
Normally, you need a week or 2 weeks to
digest.
Digest, yes, and especially these films, because they were so extremely intense. but and the variety. But okay, it's very intense. But so that's the how would I say the main feeling of these films. But the variety and the shots also photographic.
Yeah. It's the name I looked up because I didn't knew that a lot of her films are filmed by, what's her name? Jolanta. I should know her last name. I wrote it down. I'll find it. But which is beautifully done. Both the films are by the same camera woman, a cinematographer.
I was also I was complete depressed.
After seeing them?
Yes. So I didn't dare. Yesterday I didn't dare to go to Greek border because I thought I'm you come home late and then it just is. So I want to see it because I think it's a fantastic movie. But
let's have a quick look in the audience. Who has seen In Darkness this afternoon? Who has seen In Darkness? Okay, almost everybody saw In Darkness. Thank you, Stefan. That's helpful.
And you're still here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You managed. Yeah. And so for everybody, it's Spoor you haven't seen, right? I assume. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Okay, so In Darkness is more or less seen and Spoor not. I had the same feeling after seeing In Darkness. I thought I was completely off for the entire day. I thought now was the point where I thought, let me introduce the film, but you have seen it. And it's, I think also because it's, of course, the themes in the films, but also because it's in the dark and you can't, there's no escape.
It's breathtaking, but literary. You cannot. In the end, I realized that it was a true story, based on a true story.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it possible? How can people be so elastic that they can survive this? But they can. We can. Maybe we can. We can.
Yeah,
People
it's
can.
based. Both films are book adaptations, and In Darkness there is the book written by the little girl who plays with the rats, and with her brother, the girl with the green sweater. It's the name of the book, and Spoor is a book by Olga Tokarczuk. And as you say, like you mentioned, that how can people are so flexible. I think that's for Agnieszka. It's one of what she strives for maybe in her films, right? That people are sides of two coins. I once heard you say in an interview, every pancake has two sides, right? It's not a coin, it's a pancake. And people are ambiguous. I don't know if that's the good word in English. So you tend to, is there a good and a bad in each one of us? Was it in Darkness, it's the Socha, Leopold Socha, the sewer, who you first think is he a good man, or you hesitate to trust him, and then he turns out to help them. Is it something, it's a big jump I'm going to make, in your books, because I read a few of your books de dag dat ik mijn naam veranderde en in een groen knollenland, een schotschrift tegen de jacht, which is the last one against hunting. It's a way more, it's activistic, yes. I would think.
I think that what happened, that's what I, when I saw In Darkness, this, in the first place, the sewer, what's his name? Socha. He was actually not really knowing what he did. It seemed to me that it was a coincidence. He was, how would you say? Hij werd erin getrokken.
Yeah, he got not lured into it, but he got, how do you say it in English? Yeah. Involved, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
pulled in.
So, and then it became stronger and stronger, and that is how activists also, and that was about my book about hunting. First you see it, and then, I don't like it, and then it starts. When you start thinking, and same with Socha, he grew into his role as he was an activist, of course. He was, how could you mention? Is there another word for it? He was a hero, but he when it was in the first month, it was not as strong. It didn't live as strong. But in the end, it was the only thing he wanted to do, save these people.
And Agnieszka Holland, in an interview I read that she was fascinated by making this film because she read the story and because she thought, what would I have done if I have been given this choice to first for money, but then, of course, it's in the Second World War, it's not about money, it's about life and death, every choice you make.
But it goes very slowly. I think that's how it works. So I like the frog in the pan with hot water. So with hot water, it jumps out. And if you put the frog, well, I didn't try, of course, but in cold water and you warm it, and then he stays in the water because it changes very, very, very...
But he also has his family at home. He has Wanda, his wife, and his daughter.
They get involved too.
Yeah, but he can choosing to help the Jews is also choosing to put them in danger in his own life.
His wife was actually involved too. And in the end, she said, let's get the baby here. And then he was, well, surprised. She said that. So I think it goes slowly. It goes step by step by step. You are not an activist from one day to another.
How was it for you? Because I mentioned that the more than 30 books you wrote, and only now you are making the step to being more blunt in what you are saying to your audiences, to your readers. Can you tell a bit about that process?
Well, it's the same thing. It goes step by step. So I started to write non-fiction for children about animals. And I started to write about the life of cows, for instance. So I went to slaughterhouses. I went to all these places where cows are and mistreated. Not always, of course, but places where they are on markets, things like that. And I tried to be objective, to write down what I saw, but then in a way not black or white. I stayed in the middle because it was for children. And I thought, I didn't eat meat, but I'm not going to tell the children not to eat meat. I thought, if they read this, they stop. But they don't. They go to the McDonald's after reading the book. So that's what I saw, and so then I started to write other books, and they really liked. I worked for 10 years at a dierenambulance. It's a rescue ambulance for animals in Amsterdam. So I drove through Amsterdam to save pigeons, cats, swans, swallows, whatever had legs or feathers. And then sometimes my colleague said, "Shall we go to the McDonald's?" I said, "We saved a chicken." But then suddenly they're looking away. So I wrote about this animal savings for children, and but also in a way, if they see what we do, you can't mistreat an animal anymore, or you can't. But then I realized they just go on with their lives. They close the book,
but is it because?
So I have to. Now I'm being more activistic in my books, because if I don't give my opinion, I don't know. They don't.
It doesn't
get it.
stick.
Yeah.
But is it because the theme of today is humanity within us, and I was wondering if it is something we are born with, compassion, empathy for other people, but maybe we lose it. But the readers of your books are children, and you say they read the book and they go to McDonald's. So it's they don't make the connection between the two, compassion for an animal and eating the meat.
Yes.
But what do you think? Because I find it a very cynical thought not to think that every child is born with empathy inside of it.
But it's also the parents, of course, and the surroundings. Because the parents are also going to the McDonald's with the children, because the children get a toy. So they want to go, and the parents want nice children, so they bring them to...
Yeah, and the parents teach their child what is good in life.
Well, and they want to be friends with their children on Sunday, because they want to have a nice Sunday. You understand? So the parents are the. Sometimes I hear that always girls who refuse. They make the connection and then they refuse to eat meat, and then the parents have to cook differently for that child, and then sometimes they make this step. But it's the same with. Well, no, I'm going too fast.
But it is in darkness. We see you see at Socha, you see his compassion, and you see the compassion growing in him. Of course, because it's a film and it's very nicely. It's very nicely filmed, so it's what's paid attention to. And in Spoor, the film we are going to watch, it is also more about compassion for the natural world and for non-humans. And I wrote a book, Oerbos, about the forest in Eastern Europe. And because my mother is from Auschwitz, and when I was in the forest there, I saw a lot of lumberjacking and a lot of wood being cut. But it's also this, of course, these big economic structures, and that's also with the meat industry, of course, which are like helicoptering above it, which makes compassion, in that sense, hard, and it's something you really have to work on for other people.
Well, I've been reading your book, and I think you're very cool. That you did incredible. She was really doing cool work and interview.
I told at the dinner we had, I said to people next to me, then that was before I had a baby, and now I'm just magnetized to a bed and a home. So when I think of that period, I think, oh, the freedom. Yeah,
oh, yeah. But it was also, sleeping on rats. Well, not on.
Yeah, and it was a search of also how can we, because I'm a journalist, I think of myself as a compassionate person, but I'm always writing about people, about the sorrows of people, and how can we have this compassion for non-humans? And as in Spoor, Janina is so vividly striving for.
Yes. But what your book was, and it made me think, because we are, of course, in a very luxury position in the Netherlands, and so we make, we take care of the pigeons and of the cats, and of we can tell people, oh, I'm vegan or I'm vegetarian, so it's easy for us. Well, it is easy. If you want to, it's easy. But I can, the people you spoke to, they said, oh, you are from from Holland, and you're, well, not spoiled. That's not what they said, but they were, you are...
It's easy to talk. You're the one who's easy to talk, because in the Netherlands, you've made a lot of money, despite of nature. You have cut all your trees ages ago, and now you are going to tell us what to do.
Exactly.
That was the message, yeah.
So it opened my... Well, I realized that it's very difficult to... But what Janina does, do psycho. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to be called Janina. I don't know why. I don't know. That's not in the film. She always says...
Do psycho.
Do psycho.
Yeah.
Don't call me Janina. Why is it?
Is it... Yeah, I had a hunt... for what it was. Maybe somebody in the audience also has it, because it's also the film about a hierarchy. And in the hunting, I've been to the school, to the forestry school in Białowieża, and everybody speaks to each other with the last name.
Oh,
so I thought maybe it's because of that for her appearance, but maybe I'm completely wrong. I'm just suggesting it. And
but she's fighting for something. In Holland, we have, for instance, the hunt saboteurs. I don't know if you know them. Who knows the hunt saboteurs? Very cool people. Oh, just one? Okay, yeah. And they are, I think, in England. Yeah. Okay, but here we are. Well, if we stand up against hunting or something like that, we are safe. It's in a safe world. But if you go chase hunters in Poland, in these little villages, so then you're very
It's
courageous.
what she does is
Yes.
super brave,
Very
because it's the
brave.
entire community you get against you. And it's what I've experienced in these local communities as well, that there's a big clash between the two people. But in your book, In een Groen Knollenland, you also stand up against these hunters. And I'm sure you saw, but there's a lot of comparison, I thought, between you and her.
Well, yes.
Oh, not only but before you start, not only the ideal, but also both have 2 dogs. Both live on the countryside. Oh, it's now only dance. It's actually a film about Bibi. No, but there's a lot of. I saw a lot of comparison, and also in the film and in your book, there's this scene where you get really angry.
But I saw this film and I hardly ever cry, but I didn't cry very loud, but I have felt these tears when I saw her. There's one scene we don't spoil. Huh? I think
No, you can tell that
between the hunters, and she's really screaming, and because her heart gets by seeing all those animals shot, and I did the same. So I went to all the hunters. They were in the forests in east of Belgium.
Can you tell a bit before about what you do, because you live in a silence area,
Yes,
and there's a lot of hunting. That's why you started this book.
So, and there's hunting on hares, on geese. So it's in north from Amsterdam. And I see the geese falling down from the sky, and I see the hares being shot for Christmas meals. So I go to the hunters and say, why? And they said, well, we want a meal, or it's our right, or
Christmas,
or the geese are, they're the plague. So we have to shoot. I said, but you shoot 10, and there are 1,000. Why are you shooting only 10? Well, of course, we can shoot 100. No, but it doesn't help. It's your hobby. It's for fun. It's not, don't tell me. And so then I started to write a book against hunting. Well, it turned out to be a book against hunting, because I was doing research on all these laws, all reasons why they hunt in all of the Netherlands. And then I was halfway in the book, and then I was in the forest in eastern Belgium, and I heard bullet coming. It was near me, so I was shocked, and I thought, they're hunting here, and I have to get out this forest. And then I run, and then I came out of the forest, and on the road were, I think, 15 hunters, 15, and then they go to drijfjacht. They go in a line. They line up, and then they hunt. They go after all the wild boars and the deer, and so I saw them, and I thought, this is so. You're such a coward if you go. 15. You just go like a camp through the hair. You go through the forest, so no one can survive. So I went to them and I started screaming, assholes. I went to all the 15, and then the next, and they thought that she's crazy, and they were with their guns. So this scene is so. I felt again this. I was the anger, and and they thought this woman is hysterical, and that's all the time what happens with
her as well.
Seiko, yes.
And why is it that you and her as a person, you feel this anger, and because they can't be all awful people?
No, they are not.
That's how Holland also doesn't portray her people. Everybody is bad and ugly, so they're not that. But how come is that such an intrinsic difference?
There's a difference, and you see it also in there's this sermon, the dominee,
yeah,
and he's telling we are superior to animals, so you cannot compare us. And I'm really I really feel myself equal. Animals are equal to me. It's not, oh, if you can choose it's not, so, oh, your mother or the wild boar, who shall I kill? Oh, it's equal. It's not that way, of course. But I think from another point of view, I don't feel myself better or higher or more superior than these animals in the forest. So I feel equal. I'm an anti-speciesist. Do I pronounce that well? So you have racism, and then you have species.
Yeah, so there's no difference in hierarchy between species.
Yes, because we need all species.
Yeah.
They're here for, well, they have the same rights as human beings have. But, of course, we are the same species, so we take care of each other. But why do we kill the other ones?
But that's
I don't understand.
Not only for other animals, of course, because we have that all over the world. We as humans also don't see each other as equal.
That's In Darkness, of course. Yeah.
Yes, that is In Darkness, of course, but it's in Ukraine, it's in Gaza, it's everywhere in the world. So when I thought, okay, we are talking about humanity tonight in this fantastic place, the Bali, but it feels also a bit, I don't know, potsierlijk a bit, because it's so, I don't know, I can see myself as a compassionate person. You are a compassionate person, but we are still here and not working on compassion at the other side of the world. I don't know if there's a question.
What do you mean? Do you mean that we should go to the other side of the world and help people?
No, I don't know. What I mean is, the search for empathy for me it's so difficult to, because it's easier said than done in the end. It's so difficult to politicize it and to have it as widespread and normal, actually, as it should be.
And it's easy from this point of view. And I mean, Holland, we are rich, we are safe. So we are, for instance, some tourists in Amsterdam, they don't understand the animal ambulance. And they said, do you have an animal ambulance? I said, well, we have one for human beings also. Oh, thank God.
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. But I said, we have the possibility to have both. So let's do it, if you have the possibility. If you haven't, because you hardly can survive yourself, that's another story. So you're right. I mean, and that's what I also read in your book. So I have maybe a spoiled way of looking at things from luxury. So I can do that. I can. So do Seiko, that's less safe already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're on a war, then you have to save yourself, because the enemy is near you.
Yeah. And I think what Holland said, somebody mentioned it, that she said it in a talk yesterday when she was there via the online connection, that it is by storytelling, by your books and by her films, that's the only way actually to achieve it, and to make sure that people are like Socha, the frog who you put in the pen, that you have to keep putting people in the pen and slowly make them more compassionate.
Yes, but and this Socha, he got to know the people, so he started to love them. So that's another thing. So if you have your own neighbor, you know, you have this crisis in Holland now. This is with the immigrants. But as soon as people who are against immigrants and make problems, as soon as they get to know their neighbor, who's maybe an immigrant too, but my neighbor is very nice. Isn't it? Why not taking care of people you don't know or animals you don't know. But in this case, people you don't know.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So if you get to know, then you start to help more and have more compassion with them.
And I think I read a nice quote in your very nice program book, which you should get to take home with you, because you learn a lot. That Holland said, by giving animals more screen time, literally, what you do in your book, the film entrusts them with greater agency. And she does it by putting the camera on their level. Like when you talk with a child, you go on your knees and you talk eye to eye. And she does it with her films, that she goes lower and she gives them their own airtime.
Yeah.
And she puts them on their own pedestal. So I really like that. I think we are already out of time. I could have gone for hours. I'm not sure about you. Thank you very much, Bibi. And if anybody has a question, because otherwise we will happily start the film. Very much. I hope you very much will enjoy it. Spoor by Agnieszka Holland. Thank you very much.